Well, the star of the long-running TV show Friends, Matthew Perry, passed away suddenly at age 54. Board-certified MD and PhD research scientist Dr. Hemmati joins us as we look at the cause of death. And criminal defense attorney Vikas Bajaj explains why the autopsy is deferred, along with some other legal questions. But first, to Bill Mallusion with how Matthew Perry is being remembered tonight by his former co-stars. Bill.
Well, Trace, the cast of Friends finally broke their silence over Perry's death. That happened today, telling People magazine they're devastated. He was family to them, and they will have more to say after they're finished grieving. Now, Perry was found dead underwater in his hot tub at his L.A. home Saturday afternoon. He was 54 years old. Authorities have done an autopsy but haven't released anything yet, though they did rule out foul play. We're still waiting for the toxicology report. Police say they found some prescription pills at his house, and the cause of his death right now is listed as deferred. The show Perry starred on, Friends, was a cultural phenomenon. It did 10 seasons from the mid-90s to the 2000s, and the show averaged 25 million viewers per episode. In an interview last year, Perry said he would want to be remembered for his ability to help people with drinking problems.
When I die, I don't want Friends to be the first thing that's mentioned. I want that to be the first thing that's mentioned, and I'm going to live the rest of my life proving that.
Now, in his private life, Perry admitted to spending $9 million to try to get clean, briefly getting sober back in 2001. That was the year he was nominated for an Emmy, but he said he relapsed 60 to 70 times with an addiction to vodka and painkillers. At one time, telling Diane Sawyer he took 55 Vicodin pills a day. It's a struggle he says he later helped others overcome.
Yeah,
Trace?
It's just amazing. Bill, stand by if you would. Let's bring back in Vikas Bajaj and Houman Hemmati. It's amazing because the former president of the National Association of Medical Examiners wrote the following here, quoting, "Hot tub drownings are usually associated with an underlying heart or neurological condition or alcohol and or medications, drugs." They didn't find any illegal drugs on the premises, Dr. Hemmati, but they did find a list of prescription drugs. What do you make of that?
It could be anything at this point, Trace. Remember, when someone is in a hot tub, what happens? They can't sweat. The water's hot, so their body temperature rises, and when the body temperature rises so much and you're unable to do anything about it, the blood moves to the outside skin. When the blood moves away from the core of the body, the heart has to start racing. And if someone has an underlying cardiovascular issue, as someone who'd been on drugs for a long time throughout their life could have had, all of a sudden their heart could stop being able to catch up with all of its demands, right? And ultimately the organs give out. That's one possibility. Or if he had been intoxicated with some other type of drug, whether it was a legal one that was prescribed to him or someone else, or anything else.
Fair point. The autopsy is finished, and I've been asked this like 19 times today, Vic, so you can answer this. It's being deferred, right? So the results are being deferred. Usually you get pending. So these things, and why the deferred? Is this a legal thing? What do you make of this?
Well, it is a legal thing, so we can predict that 4 to 6 months from the date the deceased passes is when we can actually have toxicology results. Because in this case, there is obviously a suspicion of serious narcotics and or alcohol being used. As the good doctor had just mentioned, it's very rare to pass away in the tub. This is why it's so important to have the medical examiner get the toxicology results. So what does that mean, Trace? That means getting tissue samples, blood samples, sending them off to get the results analyzed by a lab, so that people don't run to conclusions and jump to conclusions. We've had serious deaths caused by, for instance, police officers and others, where there's indictments and criminal charges within 3 days, when we need at least 4 to 6 months to get the toxicology results. Nothing untoward in this timeline.
Interesting. Bill, who's investigating this case locally?
The best of the best for LAPD. It's their elite robbery homicide division. That's the division they put on all the top-tier crimes, all the high-profile cases. Best of the best when it comes to their detectives.
Houman, people with a history of drug and alcohol abuse, a history of rapid weight gain, rapid weight loss, it seems that they have bad health outcomes as they get older.
They generally will. And in this case, if he had underlying cardiovascular disease, like if he had blockage of one of his coronary arteries in his heart, for example, and I'm speculating, obviously, that's something that you're not going to be able to tell just by looking. All right, that's going to require a lot of microscopic analyses of many of the organs, and that's going to take a full autopsy, something that they just haven't had time to do yet.
We mentioned, Vic, that there were no illegal drugs found in the house. There were prescription drugs found. If he was prescribed something by a doctor that ended up causing him to drown, would the medical professional be liable for that?
Absolutely, there would be an investigation. Whether liability would rest would really hinge upon what the answer to the following question is. Was it overprescribed? In the world of Xanax, which are benzodiazepines, which can cause fatality during withdrawal, or surely opiates, there is now significant DEA investigations to look at the RX history, the prescription fraud potential, or the potential for overprescription. There could be liability. It's too early to tell at this point.
Doctor, Vic, Bill, thank you all.